Listeners to Spewpunk, the bonus show, will have heard plenty of Brennan stories over there. Things like you playing Claire Obscure and things of that nature. I was trying to think of like a funnier anecdote than you played a video game, but that's it.
I do play a lot of video games.
So people are aware of you like conceptually, but I don't think they've ever heard your voice. So if you had to explain the Brennan experience to someone who doesn't listen to the bonus shows.
So actually, they will have heard my voice as Ariolf during the Christmas special. Oh God, how long ago was that Christmas special? The Killer Frosty one that
it may as well have been 50 years ago.
Yeah, yeah, that was.
You exist. You're not mythical. People could have heard of you before.
Yes, they could have if they were very, very special. And for those that know the deep, deep lore, they'll have also heard me other places, but that's for them to find.
The secret audio tapes we have scattered across the country. Yep. No one's claimed the prize yet, and we will, we're good for our word. We will put you in the labyrinth, like we said. Bonus shows, Spewpunk, that's where you can hear more Brennan stories. This is the main feed. Crew Gunk, the first one we've recorded since the Courage campaign, aka 13.5, started. So we actually have some perspective about how these episodes have been helping. For example, Sarah, changed one of her languages because of a conversation we had on these, and Laura changed one of her skill proficiencies. She's like, "Oh, I don't have deception," and so forth. So these are helpful. That's the feedback I've gotten so far.
Okay, yeah, I'm glad. This is going to be new for me because this will be my first time actually playing a rogue. Well, I played a rogue for like a short campaign in 4E, but this is definitely the first time I've played a rogue in 5th edition.
I think it'll probably be pretty similar. You have a knife and you stab people, right?
Yeah, stab them in the back. That's all you do as a rogue.
Yep. So before we get into your rogue, is there anything else you want to set up about you or yourself or anything like that? I mean, my main question is, how are Slipknot in real life? Are they friendly? Are they a good hang?
They take a little bit of getting used to. A little bit of a weird outfit choices sometimes. When you go out in public, you do get some stares, but overall, pretty chill, pretty cool.
Nice. I mean, I assume that they will welcome me with open arms if I ever visit. I'll just kick in your door someday and be like, "Quinn, you don't know how to set up the microphone. I can't believe you've done this."
Yep. Though I gotta say, I'm more of a Stone Sour guy.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I mean, listen, I'm not turning off through glass. I'm letting it play, but I don't know how deep into the catalog I want to get.
There's some good ones. Sail Haunt Me. 3030, 150. Yeah.
You're the expert here. You wouldn't come into my house and start telling me about Limp Bizkit. This is the most prominent Florida band I could think of, so I won't tell you about Slipknot.
What do you mean? What about Florida Georgia Line?
I think only half of the band is technical. Did they break up because of the world?
I have no idea.
Okay. I believe there was a whole situation there, but where we're going to start with your character, I can't think of a better place than the name.
Okay.
You got a lot of name. You should have saved some for the rest of the class because... are you expecting me to say this, or is this like a prank?
No, of course you're going to say it.
Oh my gosh.
You're going to address him by his full title.
What's wrong with, Bill? Whatever happened to, Jeff?
Well, sure, I could have gone with that, but this is more fun.
Dan and I talk about this all the time, that naming things is the hardest, and D&D names tend to fall into a couple of camps. One is very, someone who read Tolkien and nothing else, and they're always like, I am, Bright Sword, Cool Shield. It's whatever, that's fine. And the other version is just we have a lot of people who just name their character Stranger or Slime or, just a weird random thing. You've done something else entirely, which I think is invent an entirely fictional language with its own etymology and followed it down twisting paths to arrive at this. You say it, and then I'll copy that audio and I'll paste it anytime. I'll just have that on deck.
Yeah. So you ready?
Yeah.
It is Sir Baltoris Stageiros Thymerolmot.
Okay. Walk me through how you got there. Was there a randomizer involved?
Okay.
Was there...
So... You see, it all started when I was 5 or 6 years old, And I woke up in the morning before school, turned on the TV, and there was a cartoon playing on PBS. It was about this little mouse going through a cave, and he got attacked by a giant snake and cut its head off with a sword that he found. And I was like, this is awesome. And that's how I found the series Redwall.
Yeah, I believe recently a film adaptation was canceled, or they gave up because they couldn't figure out how to do it.
Yeah, that's been like its history for like forever now. But anyway,
we don't have the technology to make the food look yummy enough. Is the problem?
Yeah, yeah. They should really just do the Dragon's Dogma 2 thing and just record actual real life food and just insert it in there.
Yeah. So this is a Redwall character, but you're not a mouse. You're the second player character harengon we've had. So your species is rabbit folk.
Hare, very important. He is not a rabbit. He is a hare.
Okay, is that a sticking point for this character?
Oh yes, very much so.
Okay, I'm gonna have all the antagonists call you Bunny Boy.
Okay,
that's how you know.
Well, he'll be sure to give him blood and vinegar.
So you're a harengon. I think it's going to be an interesting contrast to our previous one, Juniper, who was a very nice, like sweet academic. You're a little bit harder edged. You're a level 7 rogue, like you said. Background criminal/spy. I was surprised by that because you did put a picture in our chat of a delightful, sensitive young man, rabbit.
Yeah,
and then you're like, this is a hardened criminal.
Well, yeah. So, depending on your definition of hardened criminal, and basically, he really likes food, and there's only certain kinds of food available in New Leon. Like, there's not very many vegetables or fruits or things such as that. But he really likes that kind of thing. He acquired a taste for it over the years. But there are these weird little pumpkin freaks just over the way who are really good at growing that stuff. So he may have been involved in procuring certain produce from them and selling them to the general populace.
So there's some world building stuff we've been talking about behind the scenes. I will say that before we ever were talking about a character, I was planning to get into this eventually, have some kind of arc where the players met a farmer and we discussed, the agricultural situation. But this is an even more direct line in that I think will be very useful for talking about that, which is in New Leon, there are these magical creatures. They hunt the colossi and then they eat their flesh. And we actually just learned in a recent episode they brew their blood into ale, which is crazy. But that stuff is like super fortifying. It has all the vitamins and minerals you need. But if you love a like a delicious carrot, which I know has too much sugar for hares to eat, but you know what I'm saying. If you like a broccoli,
yeah.
you are kind of shit out of luck. And that's why I mentioned to you that theoretically there's a black market for that stuff across the border, because the whole thing is the courage and fear biome and their relationship. And then you were like, well, that black market is me.
Yep. So if you need a dealer for your taters,
yeah,
you know who to call.
Yeah, you're opening up your big jacket. What are you buying? And it's just celery, thyme, kale. That's fun, and that gives us a lot of options. Because I didn't have an NPC in mind, but eventually I would have thought of there's got to be some character who represents the black market, and it would not have been a badass rabbit rogue, hare rogue. So we got that down. I was also reading through your sheet earlier, and you also were caught. This is a very interesting wrinkle. I don't know if you want to go into too much detail right away, but this isn't something that you're doing on your off time, and you're getting away with. You got busted.
Yep, he got busted. Got a little too, because like I said, he loves to eat. He loves like cooking up new dishes for himself. So he may have had, little sticky fingers on the best produce that was coming through his shop and saving it for himself to cook up and use. And the other people in his gang may have not liked that. Some stuff happened, things got out of hand, and him and his crime ring kind of ended up getting busted. But after he was sentenced and about to be shipped off, it just so happened that a giant book with his name on it fell from the sky right in front of the cart. And everyone was like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, this is a fun new approach to like the sun gifts, because the ones we've seen so far given to like the Leone family with Apollo, that they're like all upstanding knights. Then we have Lady Lynn, who's very religious, and then we have Runt, who while he's a little guy of no importance, he was still a squire. He was like in the system as like a cog in the greater like moral knight ecosystem. You are the opposite. You're a criminal, the kind of person that conceivably the sun could either ignore or punish, anything but empower. And so that adds, I think, a fun mystery and how people internalize and rationalize all that. So I really like we get another way to look at it.
Yeah, I thought it would be a fun little backstory idea of this guy who, because in actual history, not all knights were actually like good people, and oftentimes those in power would like turn a blind eye to what they're doing on the side because of what they represented. And so I've thought about playing a bit into that. Like, he himself is still like an overall like good person, but he's not below like doing what he has to get what he wants. And what he wants is good food and money and power and fame.
I'm not an expert in the black market, but my understanding is there's got to be someone with authority somewhere to look the other way. It can't just be ragamuffins, and you've been elevated to that guy. You're now the person who can look the other way for if someone wants a cheeky onion, if you want, a contraband tomato or something. So that's fun. Naturally, it evokes the cookbook. You said that has blank pages, which I think is interesting, because that could mean any number of things that we could play with. Words could appear, or you could write words. I don't know yet. And then you have your knives, which are both good for D&D rogues and chefs. So it all works together.
Yeah. Kind of the idea I had with the cookbook was that, because you had mentioned that, as we kill these monsters, our sun gifts get empowered and grow stronger. And I thought one way that could like be visually represented with mine would be that as he like kills monsters, it kind of starts to fill in with like, hey, here's how you prep this monster, and here's different ways that you can cook it and different recipes and things like that.
Mm-hmm. And Runt took like monster disassembly. I don't remember the exact words, but like getting stuff from monsters. But I don't think he has like as much cooking experience as you do. I think he might have proficiency in some cooking, but you're like the next level of that. So I think there could be even a greater storyline about that stuff that I haven't even considered yet, if you and Dan get enough screen time together.
Oh, yeah. Dan has been kind of gunning for that when I mentioned this to him. He was like, I want you to insult my character's cooking.
Oh, okay, good. I mean,
basically, he wants me to be Gordon Ramsay to him.
As the audience will no doubt know very soon, because of the way this is going to be uploaded, Dan is planning to DM the first episode with your character. So that's all going to come together nicely, I think, especially with your connection to Dynias and so forth. He's like the perfect person to DM this session and then set it up, and then he can ride off into the sunset or whatever he wants to do. I don't know. The idea of this season is we could rotate people in and out. So you could have the cooking relationship with Runt, and you could have different moral quandaries with Lady Lynn and so forth. So that's all full of possibility.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of fun dynamics that can come out of this.
I'm curious about combat, because right now the party we have, everyone can fly or jump or do all kinds of crazy stuff to get up to these giant monsters. As a rogue, you got a backstab. How are you planning on getting up there? Have you been thinking about like your combat rotation or anything like that?
Well, you see, because these are giant monsters, they have really big backs.
That's rude to tell someone they have a big back, but I do see you have 30 feet of climbing speed, so I guess fuck them.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's basically going to be scale up their backs and stab them with my stabby things.
All right, that's what I would do. We've had a couple of rogues on the show before, but I don't know if we've had the thief subclass off the top of my head. I'm sure someone can remind me. I know we've had assassin, and I think we have arcane trickster. Was thief just the first one that came to mind, or is there a deeper meaning to it?
No, it was mostly just the fact that, again, I'm not super familiar with 5th edition rogues, and I also don't like to get too weird and crazy with my characters, so I just went with, you know what, basically like a vanilla rogue.
Okay, yeah, you and Dan are from the similar schools of like, I want to be a guy, like with, in the world, like trying to figure stuff out. Where Skitch and I are like, what if my every movement like pierces the veil between life and death and rearranges the universe or whatever? So that's a fun contrast to the different styles, but I like that a lot. You have a lot of languages. Is there any particular backstory to any of these, or?
The character builder told me to select a language.
I wasn't sure if you were going to drop my cousin is a dwarf or something on me, but you have Aarakocra, Aran, Common, Dwarvish, and Thieves' Cant, so I'm curious how much of that will come up.
Yeah, that's actually news to me. I know that I chose Dwarven and Goblin, but
okay. Well, the randomizer gives and it takes away, but you strike me as someone who has more of a lore and world building sense than everyone has different strengths and weaknesses and interests, but you were like asking active questions, which is good, and you're engaged with the premise. What kind of stuff is Baltoris? Fuck, I was trying my first. Baltoris. What kind of stuff is he looking to engage in? So, like every episode, you're going to fight a monster. Maybe you'll cook the monster. What other kind of stuff do you think you're going to get your hands in?
So, like I said, a lot of his main goal is involved in cooking and eating delicious dishes for himself, but he is really interested in figuring out why exactly agriculture is so bad in New Leon, and seeing if there is a way to fix that, or like whether it's either by improving the soil itself or maybe possibly taking over some of the night area territory that has the actual good soil, maybe fostering trade relations so that we can import stuff from that. But yeah, basically his ultimate goal is that he wants to have that be a steady part of the supply so that maybe hunting giant monsters isn't entirely necessary.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, something I try to do on Dicefunk is like I have the basic premise, and then I let everybody get underneath the hood and just start pulling out cords and so forth. So there's nothing that you can't eventually blow up someday if you try hard enough and believe in yourself. So I am curious, and I try not to go into any preconceived notions. Right now, one of my goals was to make the kind of warrior hunting culture makes sense in universe. But if you're like Brussels sprouts for everybody, I think we could get there.
Yeah, I think so too. It's all a matter of how you prepare it. They taste good.
So I think for me, one of the things I try to do every season is experiment with different approaches and techniques and so forth with my DMing. And so one of the things I'm trying to do here is specifically shake up how we approach combat. When we started the show 10 years ago, I feel like there was still a pretty strong stereotype that most people played D&D what was called murder hobo style, just walking around killing and grabbing everything you get your hands on, which is fine. That's how you can play the game. I think we were part of the wave of people who added more nuanced role playing, and I know people have been doing that since the 70s. I'm not saying we invented it, but I think we were part of the popularization of the modern actual play style. And with that comes the fact that the players skip every combat they can. Anybody who has a sword, they immediately say hey buddy, what if we were friends? They try to defang everything, which is fine. They can play however they want, but it does mean I am coming to every session with what I think is a cool combat encounter with unique mechanics or some kind of dynamic element, and most of the time it doesn't get used, which was fine. But what if there was a season where I made you fight a cool monster every time? So that is a thing that's coming here. So I'm curious about the rogue chef engaging with a more combat heavy season. Is that how you usually play? What's your D&D history?
So my D&D history is I started probably 14, 15 years ago with 4th edition. And, you've kind of mentioned how most people, they play the murder hobo, they enjoy combat, they do everything they can about combat. I'm one of the weirdos that I really like 4th edition because it is so combat focused. I do understand some of the complaints and how, like, the abilities and things have no purpose outside of just combat.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also a turn-based strategy, tabletop strategy nerd. So I really like that kind of combat, and it really jived with me. I haven't done as much 5th edition. I did play in one of Dan's old Pathfinder campaigns. So I do have a little experience with that. But yeah, this is going to be a bit of new territory for me.
I mean, this is pretty friendly ground. So Skitch is like 4th edition's #1 defender. Dan does like a crunchier game. He's always very clear about that. And he's going to be the one to DM you at first, assuming he doesn't get taken back to his home planet or whatever between recordings. So it'll be curious to me to see how he plays with you. And then he passes you off to me for however many sessions that is. Maybe we could bat you back and forth like a little tennis ball. I don't know how his schedule's going to be. But you could be exposed to two different gradations of that. And so it's interesting to me that someone like you, more interested in combat, someone to put words in people's mouths, someone like Sarah, less interested in that. Sarah, if you want me to censor that, you want me to delete that and put it in post, let me know. No. But so one of the things I've been doing with combat, for example, in these 4 episodes of Courage we've recorded, is like all the monsters start out like nearly invincible. If you just say like I attack, you're going to do like scratch damage. So everyone starts the fights by like rolling different skills to see if they can find a weakness, to like peel back armor plates, or to like find the gills or whatever. And so I think that obviously rogues get a bunch of really high skill check stuff. That's the expertise. I was trying to find the word expertise. And so I think you're going to be particularly helpful there.
Yeah, and I had even asked Dan because he was the one that originally was pushing me to join, like literally messaging me, Brennan, join our D&D campaign. Like,
wow,
sure.
I didn't realize he was in the shadows. He's the fixer.
Yeah, he's slowly manipulating things to his ends.
I mean, I think the ultimate goal is to have it be Brennan, Maya, and Joa be the player characters. It's all the the partners of the main players. And once we have you all trapped, we'll close the doors, seal you inside or something. But
well, that took a turn.
But I know Maya has been is enduring a pressure campaign to play a tabaxi of some sort, and Joa, I've been trying to get her. I've been putting a box with a stick propping it up and putting gummy bears under there to try to get her a chord. She has a character idea, which may be in this feed soon for another character who is also Dynas curious. So I think your 2 characters would have a lot to talk about.
Yeah, it could be very interesting.
Have you heard anything about Joa's character? I know she posts in the chat where we are sometimes.
Yeah, I've seen her character sheet, and I believe she's using the deer guy from
Beastars?
Beastars. I believe that's who she's or on at least one of the character sheets. That's who she was using the image of that.
Okay. There's a couple of fun little deer guys, but yeah, she's been posting about a character she wants to do, who I think you two would have a lot to talk about. That's the dream, but I don't want to make any promises because she's very fast, and so hard to pin down to do a recording. But that's the hope, is that when Dan DMs Courage trips into the Pumpkin Zone, that we get the characters who are more interested in that stuff together to kind of bounce off of each other.
I'm very interested to kind of learn more about not just the courage side, but also the fear side. And like you said, this will be interesting on my end because you have a very different DMing style from Dan, from what I've seen and heard. And so all of my previous DMs have been very much, again, like I said, I was in one of Dan's old campaigns. I was in a couple other campaigns with Quinn and kind of that friend group where it was very combat focused. Like there was role playing too, but there was a lot of like hard role playing, and things were like very strict and like this is the world, this is how it goes. Whereas you have a lot more of a free form style. So that's going to be very interesting.
It is funny though because I basically tried never to say no, and yet anytime I come close, everyone reacts like I'm shooting them with a real gun. I was just editing an episode earlier where someone asked for something truly preposterous, and I was like, "Well, what if a slightly more normal version?" They were like, "Austin, you never let me do anything." So I think the strictness perhaps benefits in some ways, where it keeps people from trying to flip over your fence at every possible opportunity. Have you played other games dissimilar from D&D? Are you out there doing like niche European war games and stuff?
So I have played a little bit of Warhammer tabletop, but as far as D&D go, or like role playing goes, I have played. I did run I was part of a campaign. Oh, what was it called? Dungeon Craft, was it? It was Dungeon something, but I know it was kind of like a more simplified version of D&D where like every roll was just, I think it was a D6, and then you just added modifiers onto that.
Not Dungeon World, was it?
It might have been Dungeon World. It's that I played that in college with my college friends.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean you have more experience than I do, so perhaps you should be asking the questions.
Yeah, and then I ran as the DM. It was one of the first times I've DM'd a Mass Effect role-playing game with my college friends. That it seemed like it was kind of like a offshoot of third edition 3.5, that kind of system.
That sounds good. I would probably be the most annoying Krogan in the world. So if we're gonna do that, you guys got to be a one shot or something, so I can't make too much of a mess.
Yeah.
With the season 13.5 stuff, so we discussed how you were being taken off to some kind of punishment for your black market crimes when the sun gave you a gift. Have you thought about how your character relates to the sun, like in religious terms? Is it a thing where it's just like it's just part of the universe, like gravity or whatever, or are you thinking more like along Lady Lynn's lines, or are you even being rebellious against it?
I would say that he has a very agnostic approach to the sun, where it is a part of this world, but it is not something like he's not actively worshiping it. He just sees it, kind of like how we see the sun in our world, but to a more extreme degree, because obviously the sun is much more present and a thing in New Leon. And so, but to him, it's more like he is a little bit curious about why the hell was I chosen for this role, but he's not going to question it too hard just in case, because he doesn't want it to realize that it made a mistake.
I mean, my most hot take here is that in real life that you and I exist in, the sun is God, essentially. Like if we're liberal with the word God, but it is like an all powerful thing that makes life possible, and it is kind of beyond a human's ability to fully grasp, like in a real sense. That's like my back pocket insane take is that solar worship is right, like in the sense that it made all of this possible. But I do like the idea of being a sun atheist in the world where the sun is right there. Like that. I know you said agnostic, but I was just making me think of a character who's like, I actually deny that the sun exists. I think it's fake.
He's actually the sun truther, where he's like, no, it's not a god. It's just a giant ball of gas in space that's combining atoms in at super high density and creating energy. And everyone's just like, yeah, sure, whatever.
And so you're trying not to look a gift horse to the mouth. You're just trying to do your new nightly duties. Night with a K. You can't hear the homophonic ambiguity there. But if at some point you are faced with some sort of issue with it, are you thinking that like that is something you would avoid looking into deeper? Are you gonna like protect that agnosticism, you think?
It might depend on the situation exactly, because I do still envision him as being kind of like a valorous person who wants to help people and do good in the world. And so that might ultimately lead to him, more actively serving the sun, if that ends up kind of being the motives, or maybe it ends up with, if it turns out, oh no, the sun is specifically the reason why things aren't growing, and it's for a nefarious purpose, then maybe he does turn against the sun and say, screw this, you're trying to keep the thumb on, keep everyone under your thumb, and this isn't actually benevolent. So, but
yeah, the couple knee-jerk response of the sun giving you a magic book and all this power and responsibility is like, what a sucker. I can't believe I'm getting away with this. The sun is dumb as fuck, because I was absolutely misbehaving. The other one is, of course, being extremely grateful. Oh, thank you, sun. You've really helped me a lot. But I think intuitively, it's got to be pretty clear to everyone that the reason things aren't growing well is because of the infinitely blazing ball of fire. It would be a plot twist if it turned out that wasn't the reason, So I also think if your main driving motivation is vegetable related and the sun is anti-vegetable, there's some obvious friction there. So I'm actually pretty happy with the way all that works out. I think it gives us a couple of different paths to take.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of fun places that we can go with it.
What about the moon? So you were doing black market shenanigans over in Dynas. Do you have any prejudices, biases against pumpkins and moon people, or are they just your weird neighbors?
I don't know how you would classify him wanting to eat one of the pumpkins.
Yeah, that does complicate the relationship a little bit if they're so delicious. I feel like it would really strain my neighborhood camaraderie if everyone was walking around just flavor blasted all the time.
Yeah, because I haven't checked this with Dan, but I'm assuming they're not super big on selling their pumpkins to other people. And so I would take it as that's one of the few things he hasn't eaten yet, but he's really curious because they look pretty good.
Oh, I hadn't even thought of that. Yeah, if you had tried most of the fruits and vegetables available, but not a pumpkin because they, guard them, or they have a purse because they're people, so they have it's almost cannibalism adjacent. It would be a faux pas to be out there getting winter gored all over your. Over your bib. So yeah, that's really fun. I like that idea. What do you have any opinions about the other characters around you? So Apollo has this lineage of being a knight from this prominent family. There could be awe there or resentment there. Lady Lynn is this religious rock star. Runt is a fucking nobody. What's your starting point with all of those?
So I envision him as being a very jovial and friendly person. So he has no qualms with him. So he's going to try and get along and, hey, we're all in this together. We're all here to kind of do the same thing. I'm not going to yuck your yum. I'm not going to mess with you if you don't mess with me. But I do think Runt specifically, he is going to see as not necessarily a mentee, but someone he can grow and develop and be there for, be a kind of guiding post and take on kind of a leadership role for him and be one, again, because they share that background of prepping and cooking and things like that. But then also because, again, since I'm basing it off of the hares in Redwall, that is kind of a role that they often play where they are, when they aren't the main character, they are the characters that are kind of the supporting role. They are, there to help everyone get to and do what is that they need to do.
Yeah, I think we have to get you and Dan on the same party soon, because that's not going to be the first one, because Dan's DMing that, so we're not going to get any of the juicy, camaraderie between you and Runt yet. So I'm excited to get there. What about Lady Lynn? I think Sarah's going to definitely be on the episode where you debut. Are you at all wary about her powerful conviction?
Very wary. Yes, okay. Very, very wary. Because, he is very much of a knowing, he got a get out of jail free ticket. Not super interested in testing that again. He doesn't think a second gift is going to come down out of the sky if he fucks up again.
I'm curious how Sarah's gonna play it, and also how other knights are gonna play it as well. Because you would have this reputation pre-existing, but having been elevated, it's even more extreme than like Runt. So are you thinking about how like you're fitting in as like a newly minted aristocrat? Do you have any like plans for your castle? Are you drawing up the blueprints, or are you still just kind of rolling with it like Runt?
Oh yeah, he's going to be living the high life. He's going to
Okay.
be enjoying every perk that he can.
Okay, that's good because I asked them so far about like how they're using their aristocratic privilege, and they're all pretty normal about it. They're all pretty reserved, which makes sense. Runt hasn't really established himself, and the other two are pretty moral characters. So we need somebody who gets bacchanalious with it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
The harengon stats, that was from a book, I think, that came out a while ago. I think it's the same one that Laura used. Did you, was this also just done for you by D&D Beyond, or did you go back to the actual book?
Well, I started off going back to the actual book because, yeah, I was building in D&D Beyond, and D&D Beyond was like, hey, you need to pay us money if you want to do this stuff. So I'm like, how about no?
Okay. Yeah, I think Skitch has access to that stuff. Yeah, there's two different versions. Is why I bring it up. There was the Mordekainen Presents Monsters of the Multiverse version and the Wild Beyond the Witchlight version. So I was trying to, while we were recording, pull them both up and compare them. Was there any, feats or traits in there you wanted to single out as things you might be, curious about how they're going to be implemented or excited about?
So yeah, I was specifically basing it off of the Mordekainen Presents Monsters of the Multiverse version, and I am kind of curious how the whole like rabbit hop thing is going to come into play being a rogue, because I do know that that can be very useful jumping in and out of combat.
Rabbit hop as a bonus action, you can jump a number of feet equal to 5 times your proficiency bonus. So you're jumping all over the place. It's just a whole team of crickets.
Yep. And then I also, for my level 4 feat, took the feat Chef, because naturally.
Yeah. Let's
and
see,
so I'm curious. That's in the player's handbook.
Yes. You have replenishing meal and bolstering treats as abilities. Neelith from season 8 had this as well. So it's been 5 years, I think, since we really got into the chef stuff.
Yeah, so it'll be curious how that can come up and get implemented and have some fun with that side of things. As far as other harengon specific traits, I do like that I just have an automatic, hey, here's a plus D4 to any dex saving throw that you need to do. So that seems like it'll be very useful.
Yeah, rogues usually have obviously very high dex. I'm curious about which dump stats you kind of took here, because I think of the second most important rogue stat as being intelligence, but yours is at 10, it's a flat 0, and your charisma also a flat 0. I'm curious if there's like role-playing thoughts behind those.
Yeah, so my reasoning for that was that I wanted him to be like, he's not really like a face character. Like, he is one who loves to talk, he loves to go up to people and party and do things like that, but he's not really like a conniver or a schemer. And I wanted to play more into the idea that he is like a scout rather than like, again, like your traditional thief or something like that.
So for the characters we have introduced so far in 13.5, they've all had, some NPCs to bounce off of. Rut has the Brightheart family, Apollo has his mom and a fellow Wraith, Knight of the Order of Raytheon, and we just met Lady Lynn's biggest fan, a precocious child who tried to rob her. Are you thinking about any NPCs? And there's the people you used to run with in your criminal enterprises. There could be, pumpkin contacts. Is there anything that you're thinking about there?
Yeah, those were kind of the main two that I was thinking about, and then obviously there's like his parents who lived on kind of like the outskirts of the town and who were again, kind of like scouts who were like helping out the knights. They weren't directly fighting the monsters, but it would be like, hey, we went out and looked around, found tracks for this big monster that's running around, point them in the right direction, or like, doing things to assist with the hunt that didn't necessarily involve directly fighting it, because obviously they wouldn't be able to.
I'm curious what NPCs that Dan's gonna introduce, because maybe those are ones that I'll keep bringing back if he lets me. We'll see. But it definitely opens up some possibilities there. The character who I would have had kind of running the black market stuff can now be your criminal contact who has complex feelings about you suddenly being sun gifted. They can be mad in some kind of way. I will want to like keep it separate from the way that Aubriana resents Runt. I don't want to repeat that exact same thing, but I'll have to think about how exactly that manifests. So there's stuff there. The parents is also interesting. Did you think about how harengon fit into like New Leonian culture? Because I've been thinking of obviously all the different heraldic elements, the different animals from heraldry, and kind of thinking that the more prominent the traditional heraldry is, the more prominent the species is. So like lions are far and away the most popular in heraldry. That's why like the Apollo's family is so popular, and hares are around. I just Googled it. They're on, a fair number, but it's not the most popular.
Yeah, so and that's why I kind of went with the idea that he grew up on kind of the outskirts of New Leon, where it's like, there are harengon around, but they're not like a super prominent species. It's more like I kind of took them to be like, okay, hares and rabbits probably not going to be like city folk. They're probably going to be more country, out in the outskirts, living in the wilderness, trying to get by that way.
That's good, because I definitely think for more obscure species, it would make sense for there to be a different way that they relate to the power structure. And so if in addition to being a former criminal, you're also from like a less prominent like caste, or it's weird to one-to-one compare it to race, but you're kind of not the mainstream sort of guy. So I'm there's possibilities there for storytelling.
The idea that I had is that when he went off and started kind of getting involved in this criminal side of things, he purposely kind of cut off contact with his family. Well, partially on purpose, partially because he was just having fun and enjoying, the thrills of life in that lifestyle. But also, didn't really want it to get back to his parents that he was running a smuggling ring. So it'll be very curious to see their reactions to the news that not only was he a criminal who was going to be punished for his crimes, but now he is a knight that is part of the same group that they help and aid.
Thinking about it, because you chose a cookbook for your gift, which I think is a fun choice, I want to get more than just weapons. What are you thinking about if you get your first kill on a Colossus? Would you just want a +1 for like a weapon or armor or spellcasting focus, or were you thinking of something more bespoke? Like if words appear in the book, you get a new recipe. Like what is that in Gygaxian terms?
Yeah, so the way that I was kind of conceptualizing is that as he kills more things and learns more about these monsters, it makes him better, not necessarily at just like directly doing damage to these things, but knowing how to do damage to these things. Where it's like, oh, hey, this species of monster, they have really soft underbellies right between their forelegs. So that's where you can get in a lot of damage. And things such as that, where it's doesn't necessarily equate to direct, like just straight character strength, but it's, knowledge is power, that kind of thing.
It could be like a +1 to proficiency bonus, although that might be too powerful. It could be like +1 to the expertise skills that rogues get. That's another thing that comes to mind, because you would probably put those in in your cooking skills or something. It could be, your chef stuff. That's interesting, like open kind of blue sky stuff, because I want to expand the possibility space there from the weapons, which I think is fun. And like I said, part of my season goal is to get people more engaged in the combat. But there's infinite possibilities. Someone could come to me and be like, my son gift is a sock, and every time I kill a monster, I get softer shoes or something. Like my chill score increases. I don't know. People can do whatever the fuck they want. We had JoJo stance one season.
Yep. It's actually a weird relationship where the more you kill the monsters, the better you're able to befriend them, until eventually we're just going to turn this into Pokemon. That's
what I'm worried about, because Dad has definitely been, putting out feelers, being like, what if I had a baby Colossus? What if it was my friend? What if I fed it with a big bottle? What if it loved me? What if I could put a saddle on it? And that's how it starts. Once you start giving in, they'll never stop.
Yep, and Dan is especially familiar with that, because I distinctly remember trying to do that with one of my characters in one of his campaigns.
Oh, did it work?
No, he shut that down immediately.
Okay, what a hypocrite. He's going to turn around and try to do it to me. There's snakes everywhere. All right. Well, I think I have a pretty good idea of your character and where it's going to go. Thankfully for me, I have the great honor and privilege of not having to do any work to see how they debut. I can just sit back and enjoy, like a part of the audience. And then if Dan fucks it up, I can come in and fix it. My main issue is I have to start practicing how to say this name if I can't get a clean read of you saying it to put it every time. Okay. Baltoris Stageiros Thymerolmot. Fuck, nope, not even close.
Okay. Yeah, here. I'll give you a clean one. Sir Baltoris Stageiros Thymerolmot.
Thymerolmot. That's gonna be the hard part. I know Baltoris, I got that. Stageiros, okay, medium score. Thymerolmot. Fuck.
Now say it 3 times fast.
Yeah, by episode 420, I'll get there.
Yep.
All right, anything else you want to talk about? Any other secrets that you're hiding? Dan, don't listen past this point. This is secrets only.
Okay, is he gone?
He better be gone. Dan will fucking kill you.
Okay, Aaron, do you want to know the dirty secret about Dan?
He's so nice. So handsome.
Yeah, I'm going to say it in 3, 2, 1.